Okay, it's time for the daily podcast for the Sprint Zone, June 2nd, and life is good. So we round the corner and everyone seems to be feeling pretty good. We've got a slightly different crew here today. Tim Witten and JVP. Doug has shown up today, and we're having a good time. So I did a pretty big pull-up prospect, so a little tired, but things are good. Kind of bummed that I didn't have my power meter working, or actually it was working but somehow it died and didn't save the file. So I'm hoping to bring power to one of these videos soon. So we're heading up the road, and for some reason the pace was just a little too pedestrian. I think it was Mike was up at the front and he was treating this as if it was a Sunday stroll. But it's the sprint zone, and Daddy's got to get some work in some kind of way. Otherwise, what's the point? People settle into a lethargy, and next thing you know, there are no more sprint zones. So I head to the front, trying to make it a little challenging to everybody. Got to get this party started right. So my goal here is, I don't necessarily want to win the sprint, and I don't even expect to win the sprint, but I do expect to get a good workout. And this is a good 4-mile semi-simulation of, well, what the end of a race would be like, since most races aren't 4 miles long. But we're, 7 miles into this, 7.5, so everyone should be warmed up, and it's a good chance to go hard. So I'm at like 169 beats per minute, which means I am working pretty hard here to keep people honest. And everyone seems to be pretty happy with that pace because no one's coming around me. So this is the first crest. It was like 4%, and it's always a good way to make certain that people know, hey, this is the sprint zone and it's time to go. It sets the tempo. So now I'm hoping to at least head into the corner by myself. That way I can see all the traffic and get a good line through the corner. There are a few people, and some of them are racers. None of them that are here that basically, well, they don't know how to corner, and they'll come into the corner and hit the brakes. I had to like make some comments to one gentleman a few weeks ago, like, whoa dude, what are you doing? This is not what I expected. So my plan's working well. I'm definitely on the front, probably a little longer than I would like to be, but as you can see, my heart rate's come down a little bit, so I'm sort of recovering. I figure I am not going to pull this whole stretch the whole way. People are going to have to come around, but I can't make it seem like, oh, it's time to slow down and enjoy a pedestrian ride, because we really want to have a selection somewhere in here. Like at the end of any race, the selection must be made, and we just don't want to tow anybody to the line. We've got some really strong riders out there that I don't want to tow to the line. So Matthew Michaels comes to the front. He asked if I needed some help, and of course I gladly accepted. The speed looks good. He's not totally hammering it, but he's keeping everybody honest. There's a slight wind out of the southeast, and we're heading east now, so I'm just sitting off its slight echelon pattern, and I'm feeling pretty comfortable. Still working pretty hard. As you can see, my heart rate's up to 166, and well, that's actually pretty good for me these days, and pretty close to where I don't want to be going too much higher unless it's a sprint or some such. So as you can see, nobody's coming around. Of course, they know who the big men are, and Matthew's got the reputation of, well, you better be pretty strong to go around him, and so I think everybody's enjoying the free ride. You know, I thought that during this part that I'd be a little bit sneaky and play some team tactics since we're on the same team. I was thinking about just drifting back a little bit and letting Matthew get the gap, and then making some people actually like close that, soften them up a little bit. But that'd just be a little too mean, and I don't think the people in this group would quite get the meaning of what I was actually trying to do there. They might just be like pissed that I let a gap open up, not knowing that this is actually like team tactics, and it would actually put me a little further back in the group, because the further back in the group, the better the draft. So I'm still doing some work up here. It's not horrible, but it's not the same as sitting back, 5 or 6 riders. I need to get like a second camera, that way I can see what's actually going on in the back. So this is cool. JVP, another teammate, comes to the front. So now it's 3 old school guys at the front. Unfortunately, this day I wasn't wearing my kit, but I was wearing my HPE kit because it's the HPE ride. But probably next time, maybe I'll start wearing more of my old school kit stuff. So Joel comes up, and he kind of sits behind JVP. Like I mentioned, there was a slight wind out of the southeast, so he's sort of echeloned in. I was kind of disappointed that we didn't get a rotation going here, that Joel just didn't pull through and do some real work at the front. Maybe it's tactics, and I know he's strong enough to be there, but maybe he just didn't want to go around this early. So I'm feeling a little antsy, getting boxed in here. As you can see, my heart rate's dropped to 151, and Papa is not getting the kind of workout that he would like, because basically we're recovered here. We really want to be going hard. Kerry has joined us up at the front, and he'd actually gone out and done a ride on his own, and I don't know if you noticed, but he was coming the other way, and he was able to turn around and catch us. So now we have a good group of 4 or 5 at the front that are doing some good work. JVP up the hill, looking good, pushing some good wattage, I'm certain. Life is up. It looks like either JVP was signaling to get a rotation going, or he just wanted to come back. So Joel takes the front. Kerry's not coming through to do like a rotation. Maybe he's tired from catching. I don't get this. This is kind of behavior, like if I'm racing, I want to kind of understand why people are doing whatever, and I don't really understand what's going here. Like sitting side by side, like just wasting energy, while there's like people in the back just like sitting in. So we really, gentlemen, we really need to have a selection created here. And this kind of tempo isn't going to make it happen. Just sitting side by side, blah, blah, blah. So my heart rate's still pretty good. I'm feeling pretty good at this point. Don't know if I should attack, but I'm thinking that this can't last because we're dragging too many people up to the finish line with us. So at this point, yeah, it's time to go and make something happen here. So bring the speed up a little bit. What are we doing, like 26 miles an hour? My heart rate immediately jumps up. And I said earlier for Brett to come and see if he wanted to attack. Now, Brett's one of the only guys that I fear in a sprint here. No disrespect to Matthew and JVP, but Brett seems to have some sort of just wicked ability to just turn on massive amounts of power. I wish I had a power meter on his bike to see what he was putting out. But he came around me, and as you can see, he's up the ante, 27 miles an hour. And look at my heart rate. It's like 168, 169 just sitting in. Now, of course, like second wheel, still doing some work. And when he stood up at this point, I'm like, Jesus Christ. You know, he'd been on the front pushing some good wattage, and to see what he's doing here, super impressed. I mean, if this guy wanted to race, you know, he'd be the one guy that I'd want on my team. So now my heart rate's up to 174. I don't think on any of these videos I've seen it go up to 174. Maybe for 2 reasons. One, I decided to put a real heart rate EKG strap on instead of that silly watch. Maybe it's getting the accurate numbers. But 2, maybe I never had to cover too many moves like this. But Brett's out there, he's doing a really good job, and no one's coming around. I'm like, what the shit, guys? So here I go. Figure I should give him a spell a little bit. I'm definitely getting the workout that I wanted. Looking at my heart rate, I'm totally into the red zone here, but no one's coming around, and I'm getting a good workout, so I'm feeling pretty good. Speed's alright. It's like a 1% grade. Feels like it's more. Maybe the Garmin's a little slack on detecting grade. I'm not certain how it does it. But in any case, I think at this point we're all in. Oh, 177 beats per minute, 178. Oh, this is like the old days when I'd do a whole race and this would be my average heart rate. So I'm thinking maybe I have a chance to take it, but nope. There's Kerry, and he goes for it. And we see Justin, and then JVP over the top. Looks like Mike and Joel. So these are the guys that were like sitting in, some of them. There's Doug coming around, and I'm thinking, yeah, these are the guys that didn't come to the front, and we towed all the way to the line, which is why I would have liked to have seen a selection. So I was hoping to ride Doug's wheel, not going to happen. Mike Weeda's blown up, not going to happen. I'm at 178. I don't really got anything at this point. I'm just kind of like keeping them in check. Just want to stay and see how far I can just keep contact, and maybe they'll slow down. But nope, not going to happen. So at about this time, I decide, let's just back it down. And now we're passing a gentleman who just happened to be riding on the same course. He's cool. We exchanged some words. I mean, not words. He's like, "You with that group?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm with that group." Okay. So, and I bid him a good one. Speed down to 15, trying to recover. Heart rate still at 172, trying to recover. I definitely got the workout that I wanted on this one, and hopefully everybody else did too. Like sitting in, wouldn't have got the workout that I wanted here. No, I'm not really racing that much, but I'd like to be building some strength. So if I ever decide to go do the TTH ride or some of these faster rides during the week, that I'm not just at a pedestrian. Oh, I can hold 240 watts for a little while and then blow up. I need to be able to hold 300 watts and then blow up. So Doug comes around at the end, still pushing to the end. It's all good. I'm trying to recover now because typically we turn around up here and the recovery begins. Good time held by all. Not certain who won that, but looks like Matthew Michaels is off first, so he probably just smoked everybody at the end. I kind of wonder if Brett were up there and fresh, what that would have looked like.